And this is W.J.R.G. Also the Action broadcast with Dr. Wayne McCray. Yes, we come together every Thursday at 6 p.m. And we have some great special guests that we bring to the show with Action First broadcast. I'm Jerry Green, and I want to, first of all, let me just welcome Dr. Wayne McCray. You guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir. How
Doctor,
you
what's
doing,
up, my
Dr.
brother? God
Jerry?
bless. God
All right.
bless you.
How's everything, Dr. Jerry Green? Yes, sir.
Everything is
Yes, sir.
everything is great, man. How you guys doing? And also, as our special guest this evening, we have our brother Lonnie Edwards. He's the district sales coordinator for AFLAC. How you doing, my brother?
What's up, boss? How are you?
I am great. It's good to have you guys in the studio once again this evening. And also, I know you guys are at home and you in your office. I'm at the studio, but to everybody that's enjoying WJRG, we come, like I said, every Thursday at 6 p.m. We just try to bring in a nice special guest to be a blessing to our community. So, Dr. Wayne, first of all, what's going on, bro?
Well, man, we really just trying to keep things moving forward, Dr. Jerry, man.
Okay.
I thank God for what God is doing and what He's done in your life and the humanitarian efforts that God has blessed. And so we continue to hold fast in this time, man, because as our motto is, we're gonna survive through this pandemic. It's just so
Yeah,
much
we
that's
are.
been taking place, and when God has give us this platform that we be able to reach out, through the internet and also through the social media. And so,
Right.
we definitely want to be able to continue moving forward and then enlightening our people.
Right. Okay. As our special guest this evening, how you doing, brother Lonnie? God bless
I'm
you, man. How you
well.
doing?
I'm well, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. I was reading your bio, man. So you have so much in this bio, but being born and raised in New Haven, and
Yep.
that's a great thing, because of Elm City. And reading your bio, graduated through the ranks, including being the youngest Black finance director dealership in the Fairfield County, man. Let's talk about your career a little bit and what made you get into being an agent for AFLAC.
Got it. Well, one of the things that I felt was so important to me was just the fact that I like to help people,
Right.
and getting that from my mom and wanting to make sure everybody's okay all the time, which is how I ended up transitioning from working for the Toyota Lexus Corporation
Okay.
and then coming on to Aflac and joining the Aflac team 10 years ago, and being here for 12 months, and then being promoted to district coordinator. So like I said to you in my bio, I'm one of the I'm there's two of us out of 35 of us
Okay.
that happen to look like me in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York. So I was promoted to that after being with the company for around 12 months, and I just took it from there. So I love to help people grow, show people things that they may not have known, different ways and processes to do business, and just how to approach people and just do the right thing by people. I'm real simple. I'm a real cut and dry. Let's take care of us. Let's take care of our families. Let's spread knowledge that a lot of us don't have. So I just took a lot of the knowledge that I got from a
Right.
lot of privileged folk in Fairfield County and Greenwich and all of that. I took the knowledge that they gave me and I bring that back to my friends and family and back to my neighborhood where I'm from, and and educate us so we can grow and we can do better. Because as you know, nobody shares information with us.
Exactly.
Nobody. If they have
Right.
a secret to do something, if they have a certain way of doing business, if they have a stock tip, if they have an investment opportunity, like no one shares that information with us. So when people share that information with me because they trust me, they like me, uh, I'm usually in a suit and a tie. I have on my I am Black Excellence shirt on today, you know. Uh,
That's
but
all right.
yeah,
That's all right.
they trust me, they love me, they trust me, and they share things with me that I'm able to bring back to my community and
Right.
share it with my folk to help us grow, protect our families financially, make sure we're okay. God forbid anything in the world happens to us, any of our kids, spouse, etc. So that's what fuels me. I just like that. I love to help and I love to spread knowledge. I'm
Right.
a sponge. I soak it in and I wring it all out and I give it to my people and my friends and family and I just enjoy doing that. So that's where that comes from.
It's definitely a blessing. Now, being born and raised in New Haven, man, let's talk about you growing up, man.
Mhm.
Because we know New Haven, because actually I wasn't born in New Haven, I was raised in New Haven, 66 years old. So I've been here all my life,
Okay.
basically. And let's talk about you're growing up in New Haven, and what school you go to in New Haven?
Well, I went to Eli Whitney for
Okay,
I went to
okay,
Eli Whitney for a few years to try to figure out the whole trade school thing to see if
right,
that's something I wanted to do, and
okay.
uh, and
It paid
uh,
off then.
and I left Eli Whitney, and then I ended up spending my senior year at Wilbur Cross, and I graduated from Cross,
Okay,
like my two older sisters did, and so those are the schools I went to, and once I graduated, I already knew, and I didn't want my mother to waste her money, because I college is a fantastic thing. I love extended education, but everybody's extended education is not the same. That path on that extended education isn't always the same.
right.
So with me, I knew there was I knew at the time that there was nothing that I really, really wanted to study and go to college for.
I got
So
you.
so because of that, I ended up getting into the fields that I was in. Because I had certain skills, I utilized those skills and those talents, and I got a lot of life knowledge and a lot of knowledge from a lot of smart, successful people that I would have never gotten if I went to college.
But
So everyone's path is different,
right,
but that was my path. My
and
path was I graduated and jumped in the workforce and just kept running from there
see,
and
but
doing a good job and getting promoted and getting promoted and getting promoted and
right.
making mama proud as best as I could.
And there was a reason why I asked that question because you got people that's viewing us on probably Facebook right now.
Okay.
That's probably in high school and giving them a roadmap. That you can be successful. Being raised in New Haven and like Dr. Wayne and myself,
Yeah.
they have the same opportunity that they can be successful right here in our city of New Haven. Now, Brother Lonnie, give
Yes,
me
sir.
what is the best advice somebody has given you coming up that helped make you the person you are today? What advice has someone given you? Maybe your mother, grandfather, or uncle, or a school teacher. Somebody gave you a great advice that kind of stuck with you to help make you and develop you the person you are today.
Uh, that's a tough one. I pick up a lot. I pick up a lot from a lot of different people. So
Right.
one of the biggest things that I could say that I got from my father is never let anything get the best of you.
There you go.
And I didn't really know what that meant when he said it, but the older I got, I I started to realize that a lot of the small things that we ponder over and that we stress out, you really shouldn't.
Right.
And don't let it get the best of you, because once that stuff starts to get the best of you, it starts to eat at your brain. It starts to eat at your soul. And when that happens, you're no longer being productive. You're not productive at that point. You're stressing things that you probably can't control, that are out of your control. And the worst thing you can do in the world is stress about something that you can't control.
Have
You
no
have no
control.
control over a lot of things, and
Right.
sometimes we make the mistake of trying to control things, or will overthink things, and it's not good for us, because we could be using that mental space for something way more important than stressing about something that we can't control. So that's one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten as a teenager. And then just growing up, like I said, I just picked the brains of successful people,
There you
and
go.
and I take those little jewels and gems and run with those. Like one of the things one of my old bosses told me was to make sure I always had $100 in cash on me at
Okay.
all times. And I looked at him when he said that, and I was like, why $100? And I got told this. I got told this when I was 20, 21 years old.
Okay.
And he looked at me and he said, Lonnie, what if you're somewhere and you're somewhere and they've shut down all electricity and you can't get to an ATM, or you need something immediately and you don't have plastic and you're relying on technology and blah blah blah. And I looked at him and I went, you got a point. Like I understand that.
You got a good point.
I get that now. So the older I got, the more I understood that, and I actually practice that. I make sure that I have at least a $50 or $100 bill in cash on me at all times, because you never know what emergencies could come up, or who
Hey.
need what, a friend, a family member. Like, you'll never know. So just having that, like we just had a flood the other day. We just had a flood. There was a lot of power that went out.
That's right.
You can't buy anything with a credit card if the power's out.
That's right. No, you're right.
You know what I mean?
But the reason I asked you that question, because if someone gave you that advice, you're giving it to somebody else right now.
Oh yeah.
Advice that could help somebody. Like you said, the power go out. At least have $150, have some cash on you, and that's a great advice to give somebody what you just said yourself. But speaking live with Brother Lonnie Edwards, he's the district sales coordinator for the company AFLAC, and we're going to get more about the insurance. We're just trying to pick his brains a little bit to make why he's so successful, because we have a lot of Black African American brothers that's very successful in our community, and we need to speak to them more, because there's so much negativity going on speaking about our people, and we have a lot of great people doing great things in our community, and we need to shed more light on the ones that's being successful in our community. All right, Dr. Wayne, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to just highlight as well, you know, one of the things right now, because of with the COVID and everything that's been going on, just share with our viewers, you know, for the best approach for as we're trying to find our new normal, as so to say, and for the church community, for nonprofits and LLC, what type of coverages are needed? Because I know that we have to reevaluate the process, through COVID and everything. Just enlighten our viewers on, what's available and what approaches should be taken in this time.
Got it. Well, first and foremost, one of the most important things that I always tell folk, from the perspective of what I do, and a lot of the people in our community do not have life insurance, which is an extremely important thing. I run into people and I talk to people every day that are scared to talk about their own mortality. And I know it's a little weird, but it's important. I myself personally know of 5 people that have passed away in the past 12 months that did not have life insurance.
Right.
And instead of their family just being able to grieve properly, they're finding out they're trying to figure out who's going to pay for what Was there a life insurance policy? Did they have something from their job? Was there some savings around? Like, these are the type of things that I deal with every single day, and I tell folks, you know how many GoFundMe pages were set up for people that don't have life insurance?
Right.
Yeah, I
It's,
know that. It's a
it's
lot.
crazy how many GoFundMe pages are set up for life insurance. And when we don't have life insurance, we're selling dinners at the church. We're selling T-shirts. Where those of us that are affiliated with any kind of particular church, you're depleting the benevolent fund within the church, if the church happens to have one of those, to help out the community for folks that don't have certain things. So that's one of the most important things that I talk about and have been speaking about in the past 12 months with folks. Another thing, one of the other main things that's so important about what I do is I make sure people get paid when they get hurt or when they get sick. I make sure myself and my team, we make sure that people have money to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, buy groceries, pay their car payment, put gas in their car. Like, we're the ones, and we put that in place. It's all which way am I at? It's all Aflac's doing. But we put those things in place, and we're the ones having these conversations with our friends, our family, our accounts, our policyholders. We're the ones having this conversation about how you can protect yourself financially. God forbid you get sick. God forbid your spouse gets sick. Or if one of your kids gets hurt and you have to take time off from work because one of your kids got hurt. Like, so these are the types of things that I'm responsible for. I would say life insurance is important. There's a benefit called an accident policy that Aflac has that covers us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no matter where we are, for any type of accidental injury. For those of us that have an LLC or you have a small business, which I take care of a lot of small businesses in our neighborhood because nobody else does and nobody else gives this information or comes to where we're at and talks to us. But a lot of my folk that have LLCs, we have access to short-term disability. That in the state of Connecticut, we're allowed to collect 72% of what we make if we're out of work because we're hurt or we're sick. A lot of people know that they have access to these things. So God forbid something happens to somebody. Now you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. You don't know how rent's getting paid. You're out of work for 2 weeks. Bills are piling up because we all know bills don't stop.
That's right. That's right.
There's a lot.
That's important. Lionel, just hold that thought 1 second.
Sure.
Jerry, is you your phone, is it on live? Because I'm hearing like
background noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a delay on that.
No, okay, I'm glad you took it. I just turned it down because I had the radio. I wanted to make sure how you guys sound over the radio. Was the volume good enough?
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
because we're getting that lag in the background there.
I got you, bro.
Because I want the people to really hear. I want the people to really hear the information that Lionel is sharing. Now, with that, so with some of the policies, I know they talk about some of the different policies. Now, I was able to pull up this other website here. You want to direct the people on where to go to the website? Just run through some of the things on the website where that they can search and to find which direction that is, to find out the proper information for that applies.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, without even directing folk right to the Aflac page, I would direct them to just look out for some information. I know you guys. I know when we spoke earlier, you said yourself and Jerry, you guys have access to I'm guessing the family that's joining us right now on this particular meeting. So there's some things that are, so I don't, because I don't want to send people somewhere where they're scattered looking. But
Right.
what you just brought up though, they can click on the friends, if they can click on that left icon about individual, where it says individuals and families.
Yes.
They can click on that. They can click on that icon. For those of us that have an LLC or have a small business or a large business, I don't discount any of my folk. But you can also click on the small business section, and you can see benefits that you have access to being a small business. And like I said, I get very granular, and I'm real quick and cut and dry and to the point with this stuff. And reaching out to me and utilizing me as a resource would probably be your best bet, because I can get you guys information. I can shoot information out specific to exactly what your needs are, versus having you search all around a website. I love our website. Don't get me wrong. I love our website. It's very informative. But to get direct access and to get those questions answered that we want answered, to help us immediately, the best thing would be to do is to
contact you directly.
Yeah, I'll send out my information, the calendar scheduling link that you guys can send out, to the congregation and to our friends and family that are watching this. And I can go through all of these things, and I can do it fairly quickly versus sending you to a random website.
What we can do, we can set up, because I know there's some, we could get together and plan to do something at the library or something to bring in, we could set up some scheduled dates where that the people can meet us there, where it could be more one-on-one,
Sure. And we can also do one-on-ones like this. I've been doing one-on-ones like this for the past year and a half. Let's utilize technology. I shoot out emails and scheduling links, and
we could set up a Zoom. So so to our viewers, what I would like to see happen today, if you put in the comments your email information,
just put your email address in the comments.
Right. Put your email address in the comments, and then we'll get back and set some things up with Lionel in the future, and then we'll schedule some time and set up some Zooms, and we'll send y'all the Zoom links.
That's what I'll do is for the folks that are watching and that are listening to us right now, in the comment section, put in your email address, and from that email list, I'm going to make sure every single person gets the same information. Okay. So all of the information that I'm going to send out is going to be sent out to everyone that leaves their email address in the comment section. If you want to know how you can get paid tax-free cash, you heard what I just said, tax-free cash. I've been doing this going on 11 years. When I came to the company, I was like, what do you mean you people pay people cash if they get hurt or sick so they can pay their bills? What does that mean? Like, how do you guys do that? I had no idea of any of this. So 10 years ago, I didn't know. 10 years later, I've taken care of thousands of people all over. I'm licensed to conduct insurance business in 11 different states. Wow. So I do this. Like, this is what I do. I help a lot of people. I help my family members that are in other states that own grocery stores and electrical companies, and I'm part of what's called the Urban Revitalization Development Program for the United States. I'm one of the trusted insurance advisors to help our folk that are rebuilding and revitalizing neighborhoods across the country. It was an initiative from the White House that was actually signed. It's a $100 million bill that was signed into effect over a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, which a lot of people don't know about. So the heads of that, I actually assist them with making sure that the folk that are actually working on these projects, that are rebuilding communities, rebuilding schools, building commercial buildings up, I'm the person that makes sure those guys and girls and their families are protected financially. God forbid something were to happen to them, and that they have the right coverages. And as they're starting and growing their small businesses, I'm responsible for making sure they have all the information that they don't even know they have. and everyone, even folk that don't look like us. I meet them every day, and I said, you own a business, you have information, and you have access to benefits you probably have no idea about. And they look at me and they're like, well, what do you mean? Like what? And then I start to get into it. I start to tell them about short-term disability that they can have, even if they have a small company with under 50 employees. You can have 5 employees. You could be running a little construction business or an electrical business or a hair salon or a nonprofit organization. Like, you can have any of these things, and you can still have group rated access to a lot of benefits that a lot of people don't know they have access to. So that's the joy I get in just sharing that information and helping folk and making sure that we're okay, because we're not always okay. And we, we look for help, and then we look for handouts sometime from folk. And you don't want to have to turn to someone else if you're having an emergency in your house. You know what I mean? You want to be able to handle your house like you need to handle your house. You don't want to be able to you don't want to have to borrow money from this one or that one, or let people in your business and let people know. Other folk, you know what I mean when I say other folk have everything. They have everything set up already. They don't have a lot of the issues that we have in our community, but a lot of the issues we have in our community is just because of lack of knowledge. Like, we just don't know. Doctor, like you and I talked about earlier today, it's not that we're slow on the uptake. It's not that we don't have the mental capacity to do these things. It's not any of that. It's just the fact that we're unaware of a lot of things that we have access to, and in ways that we can protect ourselves financially. God forbid we ever get hurt or sick, our kids get hurt or sick. I've had friends that I've grown up with in New Haven that have lost kids, to gun violence unexpectedly. We never think our kids are going to go before we go. But this is a real thing. Like, whether you're involved in the street or you catch a stray bullet, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, we have to think about the fact that these things can occur. And for a few dollars, $5-10, depending on whatever you're doing, for something as small as $5-10, we spend $5-10 on the most stupidest things that we can possibly imagine. Everything other than making sure that we're okay financially. So we could find a lot of stuff as Black folk. We could find a lot of stuff to spend money on. Trust me. I spent $10 foolishly this afternoon. But I also have my stuff together because I've listened to others, and I've learned from others and from my mother to always try as best as you possibly can to be proactive, not reactive when a situation happens. Because when you're reactive, you're scrambling. It's no good at that. Right. When you're proactive, you don't really have to worry about anything. Like, I have benefits in place that, God forbid anything happens to me, I can still pay my mortgage. I can still buy groceries. I'm not going to miss a beat on money financially. If I get hurt, if I get sick, if I have to take off from work because one of my daughters, I had to bring them to the hospital or to walk in because one of them hurt themselves because they dance and play sports and do everything else. If I have to leave from what I'm doing and I have to go do that, I have benefits in place that are going to pay me while I bring my daughter because she got hurt to the doctor. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to worry about any of that. My benefits will actually pay me more sometimes, depending on whatever the situation is, than I've actually made in the hour or two that I was working.
That you was working, right?
Wow, that's good. So listen, one other question, because I heard you said something now with the rebuilding process. Now, like, what are some of the things, like, as far as, like, because I know, like, in some places, some things are grandfathered in, some locations, historical landmarks, with a historical building or something like that. Is there coverage that can cover that for restoration or restoring or something to those lines? Is there any coverage for that kind of?
Are you speaking of landmarks? Are you speaking of properties? You're talking about historical properties? Right. Oh yeah. There's that would be property and casualty insurance. That's P&C. And I have access. I have broker partners that take care of P&C, property and casualty insurance as well too. That actually insure the business the actual business itself. Because some companies, and when you're doing work, like when you're doing a lot of construction work and things like that, they won't let you on the site unless you're insured. They won't let you begin to work. They won't even give you the contract unless you're insured.
Right.
So yeah, so I have broker partners that can insure properties, insure buildings, historical or non. That's another leg, and that's another leg of access that I have. Aside from taking care of the folk that are in that structure. So I have broker partners that take care and insure the actual structure. And my job and my team are to take care of the people that are inside of that structure.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, so I have access to that. So I'm a wealth of knowledge. I have a lot of reach with a lot of different folk. I have a lot of different access to different people that do different things aside from my team and what we do at AFLAC. So I'm like I said, I like being a resource, and I like being that that person that can help connect folk. If it's something if there's a need that you have that I can't handle, I know someone that can do it. I'm pretty much in any industry. So.
Okay.
So please, folk that are watching this, leave your email in the comment section, and we'll get some information out to you. And before we go too as well, I'll make sure that you guys have my contact information. I'll put that up on the screen. You guys can screenshot it before we go. So yeah, so we want to make sure the whole thing of this was we want to educate the community. And we want to let everybody know what they can have and what they have access to that they probably have no idea that they have access to. Right. A lot of people don't know in the state of Connecticut, we can collect up to 72% of what we make if we're out of work, if we're hurt or we're sick. A lot of people don't know that. So they have nothing in place in the event that they get hurt or sick. I ask people every day, if you get hurt or sick, how are you going to pay your bills? And they look at me and they're like, savings. Okay, wow, so you're going to take your savings that you just saved up, that you worked hard to save. You're going to take that and you're going to spend that in the event of an emergency. When you can have something that costs you a few dollars a week that'll protect all of that, and you don't have to touch your savings. You don't have to touch your stock investments.
Right.
You don't have to touch any of these things, and you can still have 72% of your salary covered in the event that you're out of work because you're hurt or you're sick. And the benefit that I'm speaking of specifically right now is short-term disability. And as long as short-term disability is available to folk that have a small business or have an LLC or a tax ID number where the majority of your income came from that place. Okay? So you guys everyone can have short-term disability that has a tax ID number, an LLC, and you have at least 3 people that can go under your company umbrella. Short-term disability is probably one of the biggest things that we make sure we put in place for people, because that's what protects the paycheck. If you're hurt and you're not at work, you're not getting a paycheck. If you got COVID, if you're sick and you're out of work for 2 weeks,
that was going to be my question, because
you don't have a paycheck. Like these things are extremely important, and these are the things that our folk and everyone, for that matter, need to know that they have access to and know about, because we don't talk about this a lot. And when things happen, we end up falling behind financially. Look at the rent moratorium. It's over. It's over. People are about to start getting evicted, and they don't know how they're going to pay their rent. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is a serious thing that a lot of us go through, and a lot of people don't know how to protect themselves. So that's one of the things that I love having access to do, is just mentioning the stuff that we can have and have access to that'll help us and our family in our time of need that we're unaware of.
Well, Brother Lonnie, that's one of the reasons why we had you on the show this evening, man, so you can educate our community. And you brought up a good point earlier about life insurance. You know, that's another thing. Not only the young, the old, like there's a lot of old folks that's walking around with no life insurance.
I know.
Thinking somebody's going to bury them. They're depending on somebody else to bury them for them. But to your point, it's not really expensive. You know, but it's about having your priorities straight. in life. What's important to you in life, because we're all going to leave here one day. We're all
We
going to leave
are.
here one day. And why put that burden on somebody else, to bury you or to do something with you when you can do it for yourself while you're here. So that's why we had you on the show this evening, to educate people of the importance of having our priorities straight before we leave this earth.
Oh yeah.
Very
Oh
important.
yeah. It's big, and it's not something that we talk about as much as we should.
Right.
And I've seen
Me
families
too.
go through it.
Me
I've
too.
seen tons of families go through it
Right.
that don't have their things in order, and in the event of an emergency or someone's untimely demise,
Right.
the family's scrambling to try to find money. Like you don't need $1 million or $500,000 in life insurance either. The average cost of a funeral is around 11 grand, 10, $11,000.
Right.
That's the average cost of a funeral. You
Right.
can have $20,000 in life insurance that you pay a few dollars a week for and be totally fine.
That's right.
Totally fine. We don't need these large, grandiose policies that a lot of people think we need. My cousin has a $500,000 policy, and he and I were having this conversation one day, and I looked at him. I said, "What do you have that for?" I was like, "I know you have a kid. You want your kid to buy a mansion when you die? Like, what are you looking to do?
Right. Right.
What are you looking to do? If that's what you're looking to do, then that's fine."
But somebody's spending that money,
People
right?
take out $500,000, $1 million. I do that for folk all the time, but just to have something, you should have at least $20,000. You should have at least 20, and you can have $20,000 of life insurance for a few dollars a week. It's nothing. It costs nothing. But a lot of people don't know, because we're not talking about this in our community, where things are happening to our family members, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters. Like, things are happening in our community, and we're not set up properly, and we're taking money that we saved to do something else with. What if you saved $3,000-4,000 to open up a business, and one of your family members passed away that had no life insurance?
Right.
Now that $3,000-4,000 that you were about to take to start your own business to help better your life, now you're starting square one, because you got to use that.
You got to use somebody else
to pay for Auntie Tina's her final expenses. These are the things that happen in our community all the time.
But Brother Lonnie, you brought up a good point earlier that we spend money on foolishness, right?
We do.
A person will spend money on, they'll go to the casino, and they'll blow their money, all right? Or they go eat and they blow their money, but that's where priorities come in at, and make sure everything is taken care of first. All right?
Absolutely.
Before you go out there and start blowing money foolishly. Because some people, they have good jobs and they'll blow their money, on things that you ask them, what'd you do with your money? I don't know. Because I tell folks all the time, as myself, every year, try to come up with a plan for yourself. Because some people work all year long, have nothing to show for it. Nothing.
No.
At the end of the year, I said, when January 1st comes, make a list of priorities, what you want to accomplish this year. I don't care if you're going on vacation. I don't care if you bought a new car. You did something with that money besides just blowing it, just blowing your money all year and have nothing to show for it. But to
have
your point,
have a goal.
Right.
Have a goal.
And to your point, at least have your priorities set. Don't leave the burden for somebody else, to take care of you when you can do it for yourself, especially when you had a whole lifetime, to get yourself together.
To get it together.
And you ain't trying. You ain't trying. Now, someone's gotta come up with money, to put you away. When those are the things that we need to be educated about, and you got to keep talking about it. Because if you don't talk about it, the people under the rug.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with that, like as you mentioned, like with benevolence, right? So now, are there policies, like, is there something in place, like, for churches that we would be able to, like, use our benevolence in a way that we can set up something for, but any policies, it has to be directed to an individual, right at first, right? But is there something that we can do, that for the unexpected, being able to have something in place? Is there some policies that are geared up to that way that, for the church community, that we may be able to help, our congregants in times of needs like that, in situations where that the family instead of having all these GoFundMe's or something. If we are able to utilize and set up a benevolence policy or something in that line to maybe be able to help on those lines, is that something that needs to go before legislation, or how can we be able to introduce that as a policy holder or to brokers to establish that?
Good question. And one of the things that, well, there's a couple ways. There's a couple ways you can go about doing that. Number one, we can set up, depending on the size of someone's congregation. If we're strictly talking churches at this moment, depending on the size of the congregation, if you have 50 members, we can set the congregation up as what's called an association. If there's at least 50 members and there's bylaws of some kind, we can get group rated things for the entire congregation if there's 50 members or more. That's one way. The second way is a lot of churches are set up with LLCs. A lot of churches have employees. So with the church having employees, these benefits that I'm speaking of can be made available at a group rate through the congregation, because the church has employees and the church is set up as a business. The church is set up the way it's supposed to be set up. If we're talking something large scale, that would be number two. And number three, if either one or two isn't available, there's always the third, where these benefits and these policies can be put in place on a direct basis for individuals that either work for someone that doesn't currently offer AFLAC, or they don't happen to be a member of the church. So these things are attainable a few different ways.
Wow, that's good. That's good, because that's one of the things, one thing God been dealing with me about with my ministry, and because the times we're in, and see the scripture where everybody know about the Good Samaritan, right?
Oh yeah.
And for a long time, man, I asked the Lord, man, the priest and the rabbi walked right past them, and there was a physical need that needed to be met. And what the Samaritan did, he said, put him in the inn and restore him back to health, that he can be nurtured back to health. And I asked God a long time about that, and the priest and the rabbi walked past them and they carried the word, and what the Lord revealed to me, it wasn't time for a preached word right then. There was a physical need that needed to be met. So the revelation to that, and I thank God for you and your wisdom and what you sharing, because that's that Samaritan right there. We have to see, we want to have the balance in the church that is needed, the spiritual and the natural. And so we have, and definitely have what we're experiencing with COVID and everything. We need to, that's where we have to revisit our mission statements. So this is something I thank God for you, and I feel the epic moment, because this is how we are going to be able to help our people, because we rely too much on other resources, but this is some valid information that is needed, and that we need to band together and pull the churches together. I'm going to set something up with the president of our clergy association to bring you to the table, because this is something that we really need to focus on, because it really going to take a more mature mindset, because we look at what's going on. Look at the signs. Now, one thing I want to point out, I look at how we're right now, Afghanistan. The people, they are bringing those people to the United States. They're coming here.
Yeah.
So that's more jobs, more housing, more opportunities, but they're catering to the needs of these people. But my thing is, and one thing I observed in this whole process, I don't know if y'all picked up on it or not, but I was watching how as these are thousands and thousands of people that was at the airport. How many
Mhm.
people did you see with masks on? If you look
No,
at the news, have you ever heard anything reported about them talking about COVID? The numbers of people that are being affected by COVID? We ain't hear none of
not
that.
That's right.
not in Afghanistan, not in Kabul,
That's right.
not in Kabul specifically. No,
Right, right. No,
no.
but this is something. COVID's still happening, but what this is
Oh
something
yeah,
that I observe. I'm like, okay, now all thousands and thousands of people gathering at the airport, and I ain't seen no people with no mask.
You're right.
no,
You're right.
no, no. But they had to that point to that point. Uh, that was a they're in a life or death situation at that point,
Right,
and not even thinking about wearing a face mask.
right.
You
you
don't
had
even,
you had
But
people
my,
you
my
had
point,
you don't
but
even
my
care.
point is that what are the numbers? Because COVID is blanket the world. So I mean, there's
yes,
some areas that have less numbers than others. You know,
true.
and one of the questions, what I was going to ask as far as with the operations, because like there's international ministries, and I thank God for Jerry because his radio station is international. We have
That's right.
people that are listening from all
Yeah.
over the world.
That's
So,
Philippines,
wonderful.
so
all over. Yeah.
what are
That's
some
beautiful.
with some of the policies and things? Because like there's some things that there's an organization that I'm connected with, Heart Bible Institute, and what they're connecting in Africa. Are there areas of other operations outside of the United States where that policyholders do it cover any other countries or being able to connect, because we also have other ministries that we're connected with, and that are our sister churches, part of our organizations.
Got it.
Is there policy coverage that for other entities like that?
With regard to life insurance specifically,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
With regard to Aflac is in the United States and in Japan.
Okay.
Those are Aflac has it's headquartered in Columbus, Georgia,
Mhm.
here in the United States, and they also have a headquarters in Japan as well too.
Mhm.
So those folk that are in Japan, China, and that area, they have access to Aflac, and us here in the United States and Puerto Rico have
Okay.
direct access to Aflac benefits. Now, if you've acquired these benefits from any of these places, they cover you wherever you move around. You
Mm.
follow? So if I
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to Africa, I'm covered still if I got my policies here in the United States. So if something
Wow.
happens to
Okay.
me when I go over there, if I get injured, if I get sick, if I get whatever Aflac benefits that I have because I acquired them here,
That's good.
they will pay out if something happens to me if I am somewhere else. So, in that aspect, yes, life insurance. People all over the world can capture life insurance, but Aflac specifically, these voluntary benefits that pay us cash if we get hurt or sick, these benefits are only acquirable in the United States and in Japan. That's where you can get them, but they cover you once you have them anywhere in the world that you go.
All right.
That's good. That's good.
That's excellent. That's excellent knowledge. See, a lot of people, like you said earlier, Brother Lonnie, a lack of knowledge. A lot of people we have a lack of knowledge, and
That's
that's the
all
whole
it
purpose.
is.
And that's the whole purpose of having these dialogues, so we can, kind of educate our people on what's going on
That's
around
all it
us.
is.
Because it's there.
If you guys, and I'll say this in closing because someone needs life insurance in about 15 minutes
Yeah.
that I have an appointment set up with to take care of him and his family. But in closing, I'll say this to the congregation, to the folk that are watching, listening, however you're taking this. if you have somebody that you love and care about, you should have life insurance. Period, point blank. You don't want to leave anyone your debt. God forbid something were to happen to you. If you love and care about someone, you should love and care about someone enough to spend a few dollars to make sure that if something happens to you, your final expenses are taken care of, and no one has to scramble and sell dinners and start GoFundMe pages in order to make sure that your homegoing service is what it needs to be, and it's respectable and fantastic and everything that you would want it to be, without your family going crazy trying to figure out who's going to pay for what. That's number one. Number two, if you have a small business, I'm talking to my small business owners. If you have a small business and you have a tax ID number, an LLC, or an EIN, leave your email address in the comment section so we can get this information out to you, because a lot of people have access to things you have no idea that you have access to, that you should have for your business, that other folk have for their business. So if you're going to do it, if you're going to do something, do it the right way, do it all the way. A lot of times in our community, sometimes we try to do something and it doesn't, it gets done halfway, and it doesn't come to fruition like it needs to, because sometimes we feel we can take shortcuts. I shoot straight. I see it. I know it. I've been around it my entire life. Like, you have people that'll talk about something and do it, and then you have people that'll talk about something and do it halfway, and then when it doesn't work out, they complain and moan about it, but they didn't put 100% in. You were trying to do something and you were doing it halfway. You didn't do everything that you needed to do to sustain and be successful and cover all your bases, which is a lot of the conversations that I have with small business owners, CEOs of companies, HR directors. These are the conversations I have on a daily basis.
Right.
So if you have a tax ID number or LLC, you have a small business of some kind, make sure your information is in the comment section so we can get these emails out to you, so we can make sure you have this information. And lastly, if you are just an average Joe, just happen to be checking this out, and just happen to be watching this and listening right now going, I don't have anything in place that'll pay me if I get hurt or sick. If that's you, make sure your email address is left in the comment section so we can get this information out to you. This is all about knowledge. This is all about just sharing the information and the wealth of knowledge that I have, because when people share their wealth of knowledge with me, I love it. I soak it up. I apply it to my life. Anything that can help me and help my family and my community, I'm always all for it, which is why I do what I do. And I touch as many people as I touch, and I have the reach across multiple states that I have, because I love what I do. I trust what I do. I believe in what I do. And first and foremost, I believe in taking care of my people.
That's it. That's the epic moment right there. I just felt it.
I want my brothers and sisters to be all right. You know what I mean? I want us to all be at the table. In case something happens, like, I want us all to be okay. Like, I want to be able to call my brother and go, yo, what's going on? You all right? Yeah, I'm going through this, that, and the third right now, but I'm financially all right. I'm not stressing out. Mortgage is paid, the rent's paid, I got food in the refrigerator. I'm not worried about anything. And that's what I like to hear. And because, like I said, others are set up this way, and they don't have these financial worries that we tend to have in our community, because we a lot of times make the mistake of being reactive instead of proactive.
That's it. So give me an email real quick that you want me to.
I love my family. Sure. Hold on. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Just give it out to me.
Yeah.
You can share the screen.
Can you see my screen?
No.
You can't see my screen?
No. Give me the email. Give me your email.
Got it. It's Lonnie, LONNIE _ Edwards, EDWARDS at us.aflac.com. That's my email address. Let me see if I can share my screen. Hold on.
Okay.
Yep, share screen.
Okay. And give me a telephone. You want a telephone number to add to it?
Oh yeah, 203-887-8831. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I see it. No, I just see Lonnie Edwards, A-Flex, CT in New York. Come on, in the background. Come on, in the background, or
No. I was sharing a document. I had a document up on my screen.
no,
Okay. Hold on, let me see. No, let me see. Yeah, hold on, let me see. No.
I had a doc up on my screen that I was trying to share.
Hold on, let me see. Let's see.
Sure.
Let's add. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay, beautiful.
You can see that?
Yep.
Yeah, we see it.
The
We see
direct
it.
laugh benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Got it. These whoever's watching right now, take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of this screen. Whoever's watching or listening, take a screenshot of this screen.
Okay.
I'll leave it right here for 1 second, and then I'm going to bring it down. When I bring it down, my contact information for myself and my team, right on the bottom.
Right on the bottom.
Yep. So take a screenshot of that. That's my mobile. That's my office, and that's my United States Aflac email address.
Well, Brother Lonnie, I want to say it's been a pleasure having you on the
Yes.
show this evening, Action First Broadcast, and also W.J.R.G. So if anybody hit me on Facebook, I got your information, your contact information as well, and I can just make sure that whatever they need, all right, they can get a hold of you, brother, because you've been a blessing and a lot of knowledge, man, was shared this evening, and that's what we need, man. That's what we
Man,
need.
we definitely gonna have you to come back on at some point.
You got
My
it.
pleasure.
Time maybe.
My pleasure.
Before
You know
the
it.
end of the year, because I know, there's some other trainings and stuff that you may be able to share with us more information.
Oh yeah, there is. There
right.
is. I got a lot going on up here that I'd love to share with my folk, man. We good. You know that.
And I do got to say, I'm very proud of you, brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Because there's a lot of positivity going on in our community that we got to speak on. All right.
Because I was telling Doctor earlier. I take myself and my team. We take care of benefits for a ton of municipalities all over the state. We take care of benefits for the city of New Haven, city of Bridgeport, city of Hartford, Meriden, a ton of municipalities aside from just small and large businesses.
Right.
We take care of all 42 schools in the city of New Haven. We take care of those.
Doing a great job.
Take care of those employees. We take care of the administrative staff in the mayor's office. Like we do a lot, and our reach is vast. It's vast and incredible. So we know what we're doing. Like I said, I'm going on 11 years with the company. Which is why I can come and show up in the office with my I Am Black Excellent shirt on.
There you go. You talking right? You talking right? Say it loud.
But we do a lot, and we take care of a lot of people, and a lot of people trust us to do what we do, and to make sure them and themselves and their families and their employees are okay. So, and we do this for tons of people in a lot of different states, and we make sure everybody's okay. So. Please, we'd love to. I'd love myself and my team. We'd love to be assistants to anybody watching, anybody listening.
We'll get you back on the show. That's why I applaud Dr. Wayne McCray and this broadcast Action First, because every Thursday we have it, and we try to bring in a special guest that could be a blessing, right, to our people and our community. And that's what you were this evening, and we really appreciate having you on the show. All right, Dr.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay.
Well, listen, I knew it was going to be epic, man. And only thing I can say at this time.
You told me that, brother.
I knew it was going to be epic. I knew it. But I mean, you shared some information, and I feel good about my outreach ministry, because one thing I'm trying to reach out. And that's one thing. And I thank you for expanding my reach. Hallelujah.
You got it.
So only thing I can say at this time, I want to thank you for taking action first, because that's the name of the broadcast, and W.J.R.G.
Action first. Be
So,
proactive,
at this
not
time,
reactive.
There you go.
if y'all could just say with me,
Action.
action
Action
first.
first.
Action first.
All right. God bless you guys. And get back
Well,
to some more
God bless you, man.
All right.
You
Get
as
back to
well.
some
Thank
more
you,
great
guys. Have a
gospel.
good
Yes,
night.
sir.
All right, my
We'll
brother.
talk, man. We'll talk.
All right.
Hey, and I'm gonna set that meeting up with Dr. Kimbrell real soon. So
All
Got
we
it. I know.
at the table.
I'm familiar with Boise. I haven't seen them in a long time, but I'm familiar.
All right,
Amen.
you guys.
Amen. But
Let's do it.
we're trying to come back to the table.
I got
Let's
to get
do
back
it.
to some more great gospel music. I'll talk to you guys. All right. God bless.
All right, now,
All right,
God
Yes,
brother.
sir.
All right. God bless.